In this week's Know Your Rights segment, Catherine Stone from Injury Florida Law is here to discuss a different side of workers' compensation. She's breaking down what you need to know about your drug-free workplace.
Yes.
This is interesting. First, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Always a treat to see you.
Good to see you too.
So this is something we haven't talked about before.
Right, well, there is obviously some corporations and some businesses can institute a drug-free work policy.
Okay.
And it's an actual written program, policy, and procedures. Not every employer has that in place.
Okay.
Some employers will say that they have a drug-free workplace program, but maybe they're not following the guidelines for it. And the reason that this comes into play is if you get hurt on the job, and here we go to talking about workers' compensation again. If you get hurt on the job and they demand that you do a drug test, and if that drug test were to come back in violation of a drug-free policy, then number one, there's certain ramifications in workers' comp. You could lose out on money benefits for lost wages if it comes back positive. But that's what we call the drug-free workplace program defense that they could assert. But as the claimant's attorney, your attorney should always make sure they get a copy of that policy, make sure that they depose someone who can testify about whether or not they're actually following the procedures and the rules, because if they're not, then you possibly can defeat that that defense and still get your lost wages. So, and the other thing that's very important to know is if you refuse a drug test when you have been asked, they can terminate you on the spot with regards to doing that. Again, if they have a drug-free workplace. And Florida is an at-will employment state regardless.
Okay.
But it's just important to know whether or not your company has a drug-free workplace. And one of our other episodes that we're going to talk about in the next coming weeks is medical marijuana and how that's affecting drug-free work programs. Is it covered? Is it not covered? So it's drug-free work programs is a hot topic right now.
Yeah. And I would say we actually have even talked about it like with our station and things, and we're aware of it, and we're, see what the station wants us to do, or the company that owns us actually. And so with that said though, it's interesting you point out the difference between actually having the policy and actually following through.
Correct.
That's where you're able to explore.
Right. So for instance, if you can just determine that they were not adhering to the drug-free workplace program and procedures that they have in place, then they can't use that as a shield to preclude you from getting benefits.
Makes sense. And while we're sitting here talking, of course, the medical marijuana is what actually came up in my mind, and so I'm glad that we're.
And that's a whole nother topic, and that's even a bigger topic, especially in the line of work that I do when it comes to clients wanting medical marijuana to treat their pain that was caused by a work accident.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even.
So that's a whole nother ball of. That's a whole nother realm of litigation right now.
And of course, you teased ahead very nicely. So you can tell Catherine's been on the show with us before. She knows how to do teases, which of course you just did well there. So again, you will be coming back.
Yes.
We will be talking about this more. But if you find yourself in a situation needing workers' comp, having questions, wanting to start a claim, Catherine can take care of you. She's done it countless times. There's the information right there on the screen on how you can get in touch with her and her team. Thank you, as always, for being here.